Welcome to your divine transformation. You just took the first sacred step on a spiritual path, one that was laid out for you long ago. A path that could lead you to success, great wealth, and everlasting happiness. The unlikely sequence of events that guided you to this video were no accident. Everything happens for a reason. It was fated in the stars that you would one day hear my voice. You have been delivered here by the universe, in accordance with your destiny. I know the road that led here was not easy. The universe works in mysterious ways, and tests each of us differently. I sense that you have suffered. You have endured many great trials, overcome vast obstacles, and shown resilience in the face of adversity. And for your courage and celestial strength, you will be justly rewarded. In a mere moment, I will be sharing with you the precious secret that could change your life forever. A discovery that will feel like divine enlightenment, and like reaching nirvana. In the blink of an all-seeing eye, you can have the ability to manifest anything your heart desires. Realize good health and boundless energy. Manifest enviable career success, or tap into your entrepreneurial genius. Enjoy body confidence and a perfect physique. Reignite the spark in your marriage, or attract the romantic partner of your dreams. Make precious memories with kindred spirits. And most importantly, from today, behold the power to manifest limitless money into your life. And manifesting boundless abundance could not be easier. You do not need to seek out a spiritual healer or spend months in a gloomy meditation retreat in order to experience a divine transformation. In fact, all you're going to need is a set of headphones and just 5 minutes of free time each day. There's no effort required. This method could work for absolutely anyone, and you are all set to see a plethora of positive changes in your life and your bank account. Most of us believe that we're in control of our thoughts, behaviors, and actions, when in fact that could not be further from the truth. That is because the way we behave, and indeed the lives that we lead, are determined by our subconscious mind. That is, the mind that thinks in the background. If you were to pause for a moment, you would realize that you're never able to completely stop thinking. There's a continuous stream of dialogue that never ceases. And the you that is observing this is the conscious mind. The maddening background chatter is the subconscious mind. This negative chatter is the root of all your anxieties, doubts, insecurities, and fears. It holds you back from embracing new challenges, seeking out new opportunities, and living life to the fullest. But there is an easy solution. While other ways to tame the unthinking mind require a high degree of effort and yield poor results, such as meditation and positive thinking, there is one method that requires absolutely no effort on your part and has profound, measurable, life-changing effects. And that solution is hypnosis. Now forget for a moment what you think you know about hypnosis. Forget stage shows and entertainment, because this powerful technique has been transforming lives since the 18th century. And now, thanks to advances in brain scanning technology, the effectiveness of hypnosis has been proven by countless scientific studies. And best of all, there is no need for you to even leave your house in order to reap the rewards of this mind-altering technique. Because you can experience all the transformative effects of hypnosis from your laptop or phone in just 5 minutes each day. Soon, you could have manifested money into your life. Money to buy the home of your dreams as a sacred space for you and your family. Money to buy a shiny new car for endless adventures. or money to shower your friends and loved ones with precious gifts that they will cherish forever. From today, your time will be your own, and you could spend your days on white sand beaches, listening to the calming roar of the waves, as all of your pain, worries, and fears are washed away. I'm talking about money that you can grasp with both hands and spend freely, without fear or guilt. And I cannot wait for you to get started. But first, please allow me to introduce myself and share with you my deeply personal story, so that you can understand how I came to be here today, talking to you and acting as your spiritual guide. My name is Howard Price, and until 2 years ago, my life was mundane and monotonous, punctuated with sporadic misfortune, and only rarely did I glance a moment of happiness. For most of my life, I walked around in a daydream. I didn't dislike school, but there was no class in which I thrived, nor any subject about which I was passionate. I wandered from one classroom to the next, counting the hours tick by, until I could meander home, sit on the couch, and watch cartoons. I graduated high school with average grades, and had no interest in going to college, which meant I had to start earning some money. For the next few years, my life was comfortable and repetitive. I worked an easy job that involved me staring at a computer screen for 8 hours a day and taking the occasional phone call. I'd moved out of my parents' house and was living in a decent apartment, which I shared with my girlfriend Amy. One Saturday night, on what was our 3rd anniversary, I'd taken Amy to the fanciest restaurant in town and had planned to propose. I was nervous as hell, wearing a smart shirt and dress pants, and I had a diamond ring in my pocket. A ring that had cost me almost 3 months' salary. I'd planned to get down on one knee and pop the big question after the main course, before splitting a chocolate fudge brownie, Amy's favorite dessert. But as we sipped wine, awaiting our appetizers, Amy said she had something to tell me. She expressed that she was tired of our small town, that she felt restless, and that she'd outgrown our relationship too. But before I could say anything to reassure her, or try and change her mind, she continued, telling me that she'd already purchased a one-way ticket to Manila. She planned to backpack for 3 months in Southeast Asia, and then look for a permanent job in Australia. And none of those plans included me. I was devastated. I thought we were happy. But in that moment, I felt as though I'd been shot in the chest. The next day, Amy moved out of our home and in with her parents. And a week later, she was on a plane to the Philippines. But I barely had time to mourn our relationship before I was hit with a second blow to the chest. First thing Monday morning, I was called into my boss's office. He could barely make eye contact with me as he slid a sheet of paper across the desk. It was the team's sales statistics for the previous quarter, and right at the very bottom of the list was my name, having made just shy of the minimum number of sales required to keep my job. My boss told me regretfully that he was going to have to let me go. From there, things only seemed to get worse. With no job to pay the bills, I was forced to move out of my apartment and, albeit temporarily, into a shady motel. I couldn't believe it. Over the course of just a few weeks, my whole world had fallen apart. I laid back on the musty bed and stared up at the rusty ceiling fan in deep contemplation. I realized that my entire life, I had been the problem. I was the one standing in my own way and subconsciously self-sabotaging. I've been living my whole life without any drive to study harder, work smarter, or be the wonderful loving boyfriend that Amy needed me to be. I needed to change, but I had no idea where to start. A little later, as I sat on the edge of my bed, eating $1 ramen noodles that I'd bought from the gas station downstairs, I watched as a cockroach crawled out of the sink, along the counter, and then disappeared through a crack in the wall. And in that moment, I felt an otherworldly sensation wash over me. An electricity charged through my entire body, to my very fingertips, and I saw the flash of divine light. The cockroach was a sign that I'd hit rock bottom. And from here, since things couldn't get any worse, they could only get better. Seconds later, my phone rang. It was my sister Jenny. She'd just heard from our parents what a rough time I was going through, and invited me over for dinner. Later that evening, after a sumptuous home-cooked meal, the best thing I'd eaten in weeks, after the kids had gone to bed, I sat with my sister and her husband George, and I explained, in agonizing detail, everything that had been going on. We talked for hours and finished 3 bottles of wine. Then Jenny offered a bizarre suggestion. She expressed that George had been training in hypnosis, and that after passing a couple of courses, he'd gotten pretty good. She described how he'd helped a couple of neighbors and colleagues, each of whom felt notably better after their sessions. And she suggested that I give it a try. George stressed that he was no professional, that he was still training, and not to expect any miracles, but that he'd be more than happy to give it a go. And after a moment of consideration, I figured, what have I got to lose? And so Jenny exited the sitting room, leaving me in George's supposedly capable hands. Following which, I apprehensively laid down on the couch, as George stepped aside to briefly review his notes. And then we were ready to get started. I wasn't sure what to expect, but I felt peaceful. George's words were calm and soothing. I surrendered to them and allowed myself to relax. As he spoke, I wasn't dreaming, nor was I entirely awake, but I remained very much conscious. Right away, I could feel some sort of shift taking place inside of me. Then, in what felt like no time at all, George roused me from my trance-like state, and I was back in the room. At first, I didn't feel too different, and for a moment, I wondered if it had all been just a silly waste of time. But as soon as the next day, I noticed positive changes in my life. I hopped out of bed with more energy than usual, and my outlook for the day was far brighter. The overwhelming sense of sadness that I'd been feeling about losing Amy and my job was almost gone, and I was eager to get out and make the most of my day. I paced down to the gas station to grab something quick and easy for breakfast, and I had a sudden urge to purchase a scratch card at the counter. When outside, after taking a sip of my coffee and a few bites of my bagel, I took a quarter to the scratch card. 1 gold bell, and another, and another. 3 gold bells? I'd won $500. I couldn't believe it. The impulse purchase of a $1 scratch card had made me $500. I was over the moon. I didn't think that my day could get any better, and it wasn't even 9 a.m. Then I jumped on the bus and took a seat at the back. Next to me was today's newspaper, open on the jobs section, and one vacancy instantly caught my eye. In fact, it damn near jumped out of the page at me. It was a similar role to my previous job, only with better pay and much more flexibility, and they were looking to hire ASAP. So I pulled my cell from my pocket and called right then and there on the bus. A friendly receptionist answered and said that I was the only respondent so far, and asked me if I'd be free to interview the following week. My day went on in that same manner, smiling faces, and open doors. I even found a $50 bill on the sidewalk. Later that evening, when I returned to my hotel room, still buzzing from the incredible day I'd just had, a thought crossed my mind. Could this have been because of the hypnosis? Could something so quick and so easy, something I barely noticed, really have had such a profound effect on my day and on my state of mind? I pondered that thought for some time, and remembered what Jenny had said about all the ways in which George had helped other people with hypnosis. Many of them had described experiences not all too dissimilar to what I was experiencing. Could it really be the hypnosis? I opened up my laptop and began to do some research. And far from what I was expecting, I saw page after page of scientific studies detailing the benefits and powerful results of hypnosis. Then I thought, if I was experiencing noticeable positive changes in my life after no more than a quick session with my brother-in-law, whom, by his own admission, is an amateur, I wondered, what would happen if I had regular sessions with an experienced professional? And so I sought out to find the very best hypnotist there was. At first, I stumbled upon the expected scammers, self-proclaimed experts with no qualifications, charging the earth for their services. But I wasn't dissuaded. I continued to search for hours. And then when I was close to giving up, I discovered Aaron Surtees. Aaron is a world-renowned hypnotist with more than 15 years of professional experience and a whole host of television, newspaper, and magazine appearances. And the crazy thing was that right at that moment, he was in my town on secondment. With his flawless credentials and no end of satisfied clients singing his praises, I knew he was the one.
Thanks for watching, and don't forget to click the link below in order to find out more.